Well, hello, I'm back, and this is my Halloween special, Tomb of Dracula, issue by issue, and I'm going to start with the first issue. It's simply called Dracula, or Dracula Lives, or Returns. In the first one, you meet Frank Drake, who's a descendant of Dracula himself. Brings his friend Clifton Graves, and his girlfriend, Jenny, I forgot the last name. Unfortunately, Frank's father made a fortune, and it took him only like 3 years to lose it. So, sorry about my neighbor doing some lawn work or something. Anyways, they go to Transylvania, to Dracula's castle, not really believing in the curse. So they get there, of course, it's a stormy evening. Lightning and thunder. So they get to the small town right before they hit the castle, because Frank was driving like a madman and popped the tire. So they had to walk to his inn, and the coachman took him part of the way. Just like in every Hammer movie, only take them half the way, but never all the way. So they look at this castle as a tourist trap or a tourist attraction or whatever you want to call it. And then as they open in, look around. Next thing you know, there's bats everywhere. Not vampire bats, but just bats in general. Hey, Nacho, no! Jesus. Anyways, where was I? So, bats start flying around, going for their faces. Jenny freaks out and blames the whole country for bats that been there for, well, at this time, and as the series goes on, it'll update it, but Dracula's been long gone for 100 years. But they'll change it in a few issues later, but still, he's been gone for 100 years by Van Helsing, Abraham. So, after she freaks out, I want to go home, blames the whole country for bats been abandoned for 100 years. Clifton Graves starts looking around, and he falls in a hole conveniently. As he's searching, he finds the crypt of Dracula himself. And he's still not believing in the curse. He thinks it's some fool or somebody who believes in the legend. So he takes the stake out, and as he walks away, you see Dracula here, reborn, and he lives again. So he attacks Clifton, even though he shoots him, but he's a vampire, so it won't hurt him. He throws him into the pit where you used to throw his slaves, human slaves in, so he can drink them later. And then he goes off and attacks Frank Drake and Jenny. So when he goes into her back, she freaks out again. He reforms into a human form, and then tries to Jedi mind trick her into coming to him, but Frank knocks her out, which will be politically incorrect nowadays. He throws some kind of silver tray at him. He leaves, but later on he attacks him again. Actually, later he attacks a villager that you met briefly earlier, and then they freak out, and then the very next night they attack the castle. As the villagers attack the castle, he attacks Jenny by this point, and then she turns into a vampire, and that's the end of issue 2. A great issue. Really adds to the mood of the series. It's a basic plot. You see it actually in movies. Kind of reminds me of Dracula, Prince of Darkness, a Hammer film, and a few other Draculas at that as well. But it's a great start to start the series. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Really great way to start a series. Now issue 2, for some reason Frank Drake gets somebody to steal Dracula's coffin, and he takes it all the way to England. But as he was taking it, he finds Clifton Graves still alive. He's crawling out of the pit. He's kind of half mad. So they go to England, they check in, and Dracula of course follows them. We don't know why. Even though here they still have they have to have the dirt of Transylvania, but we don't know why he was go after him, but he just wants to kill it. His descendant brings Jenny along. She shows up at some point in a hotel room. She tries to make love to Frank. He sees no perfection, and next thing you know, he ties her to a chair. Clifton, who was Jenny's boyfriend before she picked Frank, kind of loses it. He knows she's a vampire, but he unties her anyway. And at this point, Dracula meets up a girl, goes to a pub, just starts talking to her. Next thing you know, tough guy tries to be an ass. He backslaps him halfway across the room. And at this point, you'd think she would know. Maybe I shouldn't go off with this guy, but anyway, she thinks he's cultured, so he goes with them anyways. She screams. The rest of the tavern goes out. They see him turn into a bat. At this point, Clifton is hypnotized. He unties Jenny. She tries to attack both Frank and Clifton. At this point, Dracula gets involved, and they start fighting. Nothing really resolved. As Jenny's attacking Clifton, he stakes her but doesn't kill her. And at this point, the sun rises, so Dracula had to get the hell out of there. He leaves her. She dies from the sun, and both Frank and Clifton are out of it at this point. And that's not as good as the first one. It's still solid, so I'll give it a 4 out of 5. There's some that are way better than others, but, you know, it's still early on, and again, this is them filling it out. They didn't think it would become a successful horror. It was still at the time where they still had a lot of, code violations. You can't have vampires, werewolves. So, here's where they really pick it up. And I'm going to be back with 3 and 4. I'm Jesse Green, the 619 Nerd, and say again, happy